What if the difference between who you are today and who you could become was just one small choice away? One decision made every single day that quietly and steadily reshapes your life. You're watching this because you want more purpose, more success, more control over your life. But here's the truth. Wanting isn't enough. Wanting feels good, but it doesn't build a better life. Action does. Consistent, intentional action. That's what separates the people who achieve extraordinary things from those who dream about them. You've probably heard that success is a result of big moments. The one opportunity, the perfect timing, the lucky break. But the real truth is far less glamorous and far more powerful. Success is built in the quiet, unnoticed hours. It's built in the moments no one sees, when you choose to wake up early instead of hitting snooze, when you push through even though you're tired, when you keep going even though you doubt yourself. It's not the big moments that shape your life. It's the small ones, multiplied over days, weeks, months, and years. You are one of those people who could change everything, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. But only if you're willing to do the work. Not just once, not just when you feel motivated, every day. That's the price of becoming someone capable of achieving something great. And if you're willing to pay that price, this video will show you exactly what to focus on. These are not just 10 random habits. These are 10 daily commitments to yourself, to your future, and to the life you truly want. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you've already become the person you always wanted to be. What would that feel like? How would it change your life? What would you be capable of? That version of you is not as far away as you think. It's not locked behind some distant goal or future milestone. It's built in the choices you make today. And the more consistent you are, the closer you get. So, ask yourself, are you truly giving your best to the days that will build your future? Or are you letting them slip away, hoping tomorrow will be different? The danger of waiting is that one day you'll look back and realize you never started. You'll wonder why you didn't begin when you had the chance, and that's exactly what this video is, your chance. Because what you're about to hear isn't just information. It's a blueprint, a daily plan for becoming the best version of yourself. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Right now, every single day, whether you feel like it or not, that's the only way forward. That's the only way up. So if you're serious about your life, if you're ready to stop dreaming and start doing, then keep watching. Because what comes next could change everything, not overnight, but over time. And that's exactly how real change happens. You've already taken the first step, recognizing that change doesn't come from wishing, but from working. That's powerful. And if you're still here, it means you're ready to go deeper. So let's talk about the one thing that decides everything in your life, your mindset. Not just positive thinking, not just motivation, but the way you see the world and your place in it. Because if you get this right, everything else follows. If you get this wrong, nothing else matters. Think about the people you admire most. The ones who seem to rise above the noise, who stay focused when others give up, who keep going when everything feels heavy. What separates them from everyone else isn't talent alone. It isn't luck, it's their mindset. They believe in their ability to grow, to adapt, to overcome, and that belief shapes their reality. This isn't just philosophy. It's backed by decades of psychological research. People who adopt a growth mindset, as defined by psychologist Carol Dweck, don't just perform better. They persist longer, learn faster, and ultimately achieve more. You have a choice every single day. Will you see your abilities as fixed, or will you believe in your capacity to grow? Will you look at failure as the end of the road, or as a stepping stone to something better? Will you allow setbacks to define you, or will you use them to fuel your comeback? These questions aren't just for athletes or entrepreneurs or artists. They're for you. They're for anyone who wants to live a life of purpose and progress. Here's the truth. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you challenge it, the more capable it becomes. But if you let it sit in comfort, if you avoid the hard things, it atrophies. It starts to believe that effort is a sign of weakness, that struggle means failure, that talent is the only thing that matters. And that's a dangerous place to be, because life doesn't favor the naturally gifted. It favors the relentless. The ones who keep showing up, even when they don't feel like it. The ones who choose growth over comfort every single day. So how do you build this mindset? It starts with awareness. It starts with asking yourself the hard questions. Do you give up easily when things get difficult? Do you avoid challenges because you're afraid of failing? Or do you lean into the struggle, knowing that's where real growth happens? Do you see criticism as an attack or as a gift? Do you celebrate the success of others, or does it make you feel smaller? These are the moments that shape your mindset and ultimately your life. You have to become your own greatest ally, not your own worst critic, not someone who waits for permission or perfect timing. You must become someone who believes in their ability to learn, to improve, to rise. Because when you do, something shifts. You stop waiting for motivation. You start taking action. You stop making excuses. You start making progress. You stop hoping for luck. You start creating your own path. This is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up for yourself every single day and choosing to grow, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's when you build the kind of mindset that changes everything. A mindset that doesn't rely on external validation. A mindset that thrives in uncertainty. A mindset that doesn't wait for the perfect moment because it knows that perfect is a myth. The only real moment is now. So ask yourself, what kind of mindset are you building today? Are you reinforcing the belief that you can grow, that you can improve, that you can become more? Or are you letting fear, doubt, and comfort hold you back from who you're meant to be? The answer to that question will determine the rest of your life. Choose wisely, choose courage, choose growth. Because the moment you decide that you are capable of change, that's the moment everything begins to shift. And that's the moment your life starts moving in the direction you've always wanted. You've already made the decision to grow. You've chosen to believe that you're capable of more, that your mindset is not fixed but flexible, that your potential is not predetermined but built through daily effort. That belief is your greatest asset. But belief alone won't carry you forward. It needs direction. It needs focus. Because if you spread your energy in too many directions, even the strongest mindset will falter. Think about it. How many times have you felt overwhelmed, not because you lacked motivation, but because you didn't know where to put your energy? You wanted to improve your life, so you tried to change everything at once. You started new habits, set ambitious goals, downloaded productivity apps, wrote long to-do lists, and then, within days, you were back to where you started. Not because you lacked willpower, but because you lacked focus. Your attention is your most powerful resource. It's not your time, not your money, not even your talent. It's where you place your attention that determines the direction of your life. Because what you focus on expands. What you give your mental energy to grows. If you focus on distractions, you'll become distracted. If you focus on problems, you'll feel powerless. But if you focus on what truly matters, on the daily actions that move you toward your goals, then you'll begin to see real, lasting change. The human brain is wired for selective attention. It can only process so much information at once. That's why the most successful people aren't necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They're the ones who know how to filter out the noise and zero in on what truly matters. They understand that focus is not just a skill, it's a daily discipline, one that must be practiced, protected, and prioritized. Ask yourself, what are you giving your attention to right now? Are you letting your mind drift between tabs, notifications, and endless scrolling, or are you giving your full presence to the things that shape your future? Because here's the reality. You don't get to control everything that comes at you, but you do get to control where you place your focus. And that choice made every single day decides everything. You have to become ruthless with your attention. You have to guard it like a warrior guards his sword. Because every time you allow distractions to pull you away from what matters, you weaken your ability to make progress. Every time you let your mind wander into comparison, complaint, or confusion, you dilute your power. But every time you bring your focus back to your goals, your habits, your growth, you strengthen your ability to create the life you want. This isn't about perfection, it's about intentionality. It's about recognizing that you only have so much mental energy each day, and how you use it determines your results. So stop trying to do everything. Start doing the right things, consistently, deliberately, with full attention. Whether it's your work, your relationships, your health, or your personal growth, give it your full presence, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. The truth is, you already have everything you need to succeed. You have the time. You have the ability. You have the capacity. What you must develop is the discipline to focus, to stay locked in, even when the world tries to pull you away. Because when you master your attention, you master your life. And when you master your life, you unlock the ability to become anything you choose. So take a deep breath, let go of the noise, let go of the pressure to do it all at once. Or just focus on one thing, one action, one habit, one step, and give it everything you've got. Because that's how real progress happens. Not in grand gestures, but in small, focused moments that add up to extraordinary results. This is your life, your time, your energy, and what you choose to focus on today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Choose wisely, choose focus, choose forward motion, because the moment you decide to give your full attention to what truly matters, that's the moment everything starts to change. You've already taken control of your mindset. You've sharpened your focus. You've begun to direct your energy toward what truly matters. But there's something deeper beneath all of it, something that either lifts you up or drags you down, often without you even realizing it. It's not just what you think or what you do, it's how you feel. And how you handle those feelings determines everything. Your emotions are not just background noise, they are signals, messages from deep within that tell you what you need, what you fear, and what you desire. But if you don't learn to understand them, they will control you. They'll push you toward distraction when you feel overwhelmed. They'll whisper defeat when you face resistance. They'll pull you back into comfort when you should be moving forward. You've probably felt it before, that moment when you know exactly what you should do, but you just don't feel like doing it. That's your emotions overriding your logic. And it's not weakness, it's human nature. The key is not to fight your emotions, it's to master them, to stop letting them decide your actions and start using them as fuel for growth. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they never feel doubt? Of course they do. Do they never feel fear? Absolutely not. But they've learned how to move forward despite their emotions, not because of them. They've built emotional strength, the quiet power that allows them to stay grounded when everything around them is shifting. And the best part? Emotional strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build every single day. You don't need to wait for the perfect emotional state to take action. You don't need to feel motivated, confident, or inspired to get started. In fact, waiting for those feelings is what keeps most people stuck. Real growth happens when you act in spite of how you feel. When you choose discipline over emotion, consistency over comfort. That's when you begin to reshape your relationship with your inner world. Here's the truth. You cannot control everything that happens to you. You can't control what people say. You can't control the setbacks you face. You can't control the disappointments that come your way. But you can control how you respond. You can control what you make mean. You can control the story you tell yourself. And that makes all the difference. Every time you allow an emotion to dictate your behavior, you give away your power. Every time you react without awareness, you reinforce a pattern that holds you back. But every time you pause, reflect, and choose your response, you reclaim control. You build emotional resilience. And that's the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime. So how do you start? By becoming your own emotional coach, not your own critic. Not someone who suppresses or denies feelings, but someone who observes them, understands them, and uses them wisely. When you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? When you feel frustrated, ask, what am I resisting right now? When you feel defeated, ask, what can I learn from this? These questions don't just calm your mind, they empower you. They shift your perspective from victim to creator, from reaction to intention. And the more you practice this awareness, the more control you gain over your life. You deserve to feel good, but you don't need circumstances to line up perfectly for that to happen. You don't need the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect day. You just need to take ownership of your emotional state every single morning, every single moment. Because when you do, you stop waiting for life to change. You start changing yourself. And that's where true transformation begins. This is your life, your emotions, your power. And every day is a new opportunity to build deeper strength, greater awareness, and stronger control over how you show up in the world. So don't let your feelings run the show, take the wheel. Because the moment you decide to lead your emotions instead of following them, that's the moment you start living on your own terms. You already know that success isn't something that happens to you, it's something you build. You've started shaping your mindset, sharpening your focus, and taking control of your emotions, but there's one more foundation you must strengthen. One that quietly influences every choice you make, every action you take, and every result you get. It's not just about what you do with your mind, it's about what you do with your body. Because your health is not just a side effect of a good life, it's the source of it. Think about the most powerful moments in your life, the times when you felt unstoppable, when you were fully present, deeply energized, and completely in control, what was your body doing then? Chances are you weren't exhausted, you weren't sluggish, you weren't drained. You were strong, you were alert, you were alive. That's not coincidence. That's the direct result of treating your body like the foundation it is. Not an afterthought, not something you'll fix later, but the very vehicle that carries you through everything you want to achieve. You can have the strongest mindset in the world, but if your body is weak, your energy is low, and your health is neglected, you won't have the physical capacity to act on it. You can have the clearest focus, but if your brain is foggy from poor sleep, dehydration, or constant stress, your clarity will fade. You can master your emotions, but if your body is running on empty, your resilience will crumble. That's why health isn't just about looking good or living longer. It's about living stronger, mentally, emotionally, and physically. The truth is, your body and mind are not separate. They are deeply connected. When you move your body, you improve your brain function. When you eat well, you stabilize your mood. When you sleep deeply, you reset your mindset. Every choice you make about your health sends a signal to your entire system about how much you value yourself, how serious you are about your goals, and how committed you are to showing up as your best self. But here's the danger. Health is easy to ignore until it's impossible to ignore. You can push through fatigue for weeks. You can ignore the signs of stress for months. You can skip movement, compromise sleep, and still function for a while. But then one day, your body says no. You feel slower. You lose motivation. You start doubting yourself. And suddenly, the problem isn't just your health. It's everything that depends on it. Your work, your relationships, your confidence, your drive. That's why your health must be a daily priority. Not because you want to look better, but because you want to be better. Not because you want to fit into a certain size, but because you want to live with strength, energy, and clarity every single day. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about making small, powerful choices that add up over time. Choices that prove to yourself every day that you are serious about your life. You don't need a strict diet. You just need to make better choices than yesterday. You don't need to run a marathon. You just need to move your body in a way that makes you feel strong. You don't need 8 perfect hours of sleep. You just need to respect your body enough to give it a chance to recover. These aren't extreme measures. They're daily commitments to yourself. And every time you follow through, you build more than just health. You build discipline. You build self-respect. You build the kind of inner strength that fuels everything else. Ask yourself, are you giving your body what it needs to support your ambitions? Or are you asking it to carry you forward on empty? Because your body is always listening. It's always responding. If you feed it well, it gives you energy. If you move it, it gives you strength. If you rest it, it gives you clarity. But if you neglect it, it will eventually force you to stop, whether you're ready or not. This is not a warning. It's a reminder. You only get one body, one life. And every day you invest in your health is a day you gain more control over both. So don't wait until you're forced to change. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Start today. Not with drastic changes, not with extreme plans, just with awareness, with intention, with small, powerful choices that show your body you respect it. Because when you do, it will give you everything you need to keep going. Because the strongest mindset in the world means nothing if you don't have the body to back it up. The clearest focus means nothing if your energy is drained. The best habits mean nothing if your health isn't there to support them. So take care of your body, not because you have to, but because you want to live a life of strength, clarity, and purpose, because when you do, everything else becomes possible, and that's when you truly begin to unlock your full potential. You've already begun building the foundation of a life that matters. You've strengthened your mindset, sharpened your focus, taken control of your emotions, and recognized the power of your health. These are not small steps. They are the pillars of a life built with intention, strength, and purpose. But there's something deeper that connects all of it, something that gives your efforts meaning beyond yourself. It's not just about how well you manage your own life, it's about how you show up for the people around you. Because no matter how strong you become, no matter how much you grow, life is never truly fulfilling in isolation. You are wired for connection, not just for companionship, but for contribution. Human beings are not meant to live in emotional isolation. Every relationship you have, whether it's with a partner, a friend, a coworker, or even a stranger, shapes your life in ways you may not always see. And the truth is, the quality of your relationships defines the quality of your life. Not just your happiness, but your resilience, your motivation, your sense of purpose. Because when you feel seen, supported, and connected, you rise higher. And when you lift others, you rise with them. You don't need a large circle to have meaningful relationships. You need depth, not quantity. You need to be fully present with the people who matter most. Not just physically, but emotionally. Not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's difficult. Because relationships, like everything of value, require effort. They require attention. They require intentionality. And if you've been focusing only on your own growth without investing in the people around you, you're missing a crucial part of what makes life truly rich. Think about the people who have made the biggest difference in your life. Chances are, they weren't the ones who gave you advice or resources. They were the ones who showed up, who listened when you needed it most, who stood by you when you weren't at your best, who believed in you even when you doubted yourself. Those relationships didn't happen by accident. They were built through time, through presence, through consistency, and you have the power to be that kind of person for someone else. This is not about being perfect in your relationships. It's about being present. It's about showing up with honesty, with empathy, with care. It's about choosing to give more than you take, not because you expect something in return, but because you understand that connection is its own reward. Because when you build trust, when you offer support, when you listen deeply, you create something that can't be measured in words or actions. You create impact. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness, found that good relationships keep us happier and healthier, not just emotionally, but physically. The people you surround yourself with don't just influence your mood, they influence your health, your resilience, your ability to handle stress, and even your longevity. That's how powerful connection is. That's how essential relationships are to a life well lived. But here's the challenge. Relationships require vulnerability. They require honesty. They require effort, even when you don't feel like giving it. And that's where most people fall short. They wait for the right moment. They wait for the other person to make the first move. They wait for everything to feel perfect before they show up. But real connection doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing, from reaching out, from choosing to care, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're not sure how the other person will respond. So ask yourself, are you investing in the people who matter most? Are you giving your full presence to the relationships that shape your life? Or are you letting distractions, busyness, and fear keep you at a distance? Because the more you hold back, the more you isolate yourself, not just from others, but from your own sense of fulfillment. You deserve deep, meaningful relationships. And so do the people in your life. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start showing up today. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Listen without interrupting. Offer support without expecting anything in return. Be the person who stays, who shows up, who cares. Because when you do, you don't just strengthen your relationships. You strengthen your entire life. Your growth means nothing if it doesn't lead to connection. Your strength means nothing if it doesn't lead to support. Your journey means nothing if it doesn't lead to impact. So build relationships with intention. Invest in people with purpose. And understand that the love, trust, and connection you create today will be the foundation of the life you look back on with pride tomorrow. Because at the end of it all, success isn't measured by what you achieved alone. It's measured by the lives you touched, the people you lifted, and the love you gave. That's the kind of legacy that lasts. That's the kind of life that truly matters. And that kind of life begins with one simple choice: to show up every single day for the people who matter most. You've already built the foundation of a life that matters. A strong mindset, sharp focus, emotional control, deep relationships, and a body that supports you every step of the way. You've stopped waiting for the perfect moment and started showing up every single day. But there's one more force that will determine whether you keep moving forward or eventually plateau. It's not about how much you know right now. It's about how much you're willing to keep learning. Because growth doesn't stop when you reach a goal. It never stops. And if you want to keep evolving, keep improving, keep becoming more than you are today, then you must commit to one thing above all else: lifelong learning. You are not finished. None of us are. No matter how much you've achieved, no matter how far you've come, there is always more to discover, more to understand, and more to become. That's not a limitation, it's a gift. Because the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing is the moment you begin to fade. You were not built to stay the same, you were built to evolve. And every single day is a chance to move one step closer to the person you're capable of becoming. Think about the people you admire most. The ones who seem to always be ahead, always be improving, always be moving forward. What do they have in common? They don't just work hard, they stay curious, they ask questions, they read, they listen, they observe, they reflect. They don't wait for someone to teach them. They seek out knowledge with urgency, with hunger, with a deep understanding that learning is the fuel that keeps them moving forward. This isn't about formal education. It's not about degrees or certifications. It's about the daily habit of curiosity, the willingness to explore new ideas, to challenge your own beliefs, to stay open to growth. It's about reading a book instead of scrolling. It's about listening to a podcast instead of zoning out. It's about asking questions instead of pretending you already know. Every time you do that, you expand your mind, you sharpen your thinking, you build a better version of yourself, one small step at a time. And here's the secret. Learning doesn't just give you knowledge, it gives you momentum. The more you learn, the more you realize what's possible. The more you realize what's possible, the more you believe in yourself. And the more you believe in yourself, the more you're willing to try, to take risks, to push beyond what you thought was your limit. That's the real power of growth. It doesn't just make you smarter, it makes you stronger, more confident, more capable, more unstoppable. But learning only works if you apply it. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. So don't just consume. Implement. Take what you learn and put it into practice. Test it. Refine it. Make it your own. Because real growth doesn't happen in your head. It happens in your life. It happens in the choices you make, the habits you build, the actions you take every single day. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just change something today. Read one page, listen to one lesson, ask one question. That's all it takes to keep moving forward. And over time, those small steps add up to massive transformation. That's the power of consistency. That's the power of daily growth. So ask yourself, are you still learning? Are you still challenging yourself? Are you still hungry for more? Or have you convinced yourself that you already know enough? Because the moment you stop learning, you give up your ability to improve. And if you're not improving, you're not truly living. You were not meant to stay small. You were not meant to settle. You were meant to grow, not just once, not just for a short time, but for as long as you draw breath. And every single day is a new chance to do that. Every single day is a new opportunity to learn something that changes your life, something that changes the way you think, the way you act, the way you show up in the world. So don't waste this moment. Don't waste this day. Don't waste this life. Stay curious. Stay hungry. Stay in motion. Because the more you learn, the more you become. And the more you become, the more you're able to give to yourself, to your goals, to the people who matter most. This is your life, your journey, your growth. And every single day is a chance to build something greater than you ever thought possible. So take it. Take every single one of them. Because the moment you commit to never stopping your growth, that's the moment you start living at your full potential. You've already built the foundation of a life that moves forward, not because it's easy, but because you've chosen to keep going anyway. You've strengthened your mindset, sharpened your focus, mastered your emotions, taken care of your body, deepened your relationships, and committed to lifelong learning. Each of these choices has brought you closer to the person you want to become. But there's one more force that will determine whether you keep moving forward or eventually lose momentum. It's not about what you know or what you've done. It's about how deeply you believe in your own ability to keep going. You've heard the phrase, never give up 1,000 times. But what does it really mean? It's not just about stubbornness or refusing to quit. It's about belief. Belief in your ability to find a way, even when the path isn't clear. Belief that you can grow, adapt, and overcome. Belief that no matter how many times you fall, you have the strength to rise again. That belief is the fuel that keeps you moving forward when everything inside you wants to stop. You don't need to be the strongest person in the room. You just need to keep showing up. You don't need to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. You just need to keep going. One more step, one more day, one more try. Because persistence doesn't require perfection. It just requires you to keep moving, even when you're tired, even when you doubt yourself, even when it feels like nothing is working. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem to have overcome impossible odds, the ones who built something from nothing, the ones who kept going long after everyone else gave up. What made them different? Was it talent, luck, privilege? Sometimes, but more often than not, it was this: they refused to stop. They kept going long after they should have quit, and that's what changed everything. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You just have to keep going. One more day, one more attempt, one more small win. That's how real progress happens. Not in big, dramatic moments, but in quiet, consistent effort. In the choice to show up for yourself even when no one else is watching. In the decision to keep moving forward even when you don't see results yet. Because here's the truth: you don't always get immediate proof that your effort is paying off. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, even years before you see the full impact of your work, but that doesn't mean it's not working. Growth is often invisible at first. Like a seed buried in the ground, it's happening beneath the surface. And if you keep watering it, if you keep believing in it, if you keep showing up for it, one day it will break through. That's the power of persistence. It's not flashy. It doesn't go viral. No one makes highlight reels of the days you showed up when you didn't feel like it. But those days, the ones no one sees, are the ones that shape your future. Every time you choose to keep going, you build something unshakable inside yourself. You prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are not someone who gives up. And that belief, that unshakable belief in your own ability to keep going, becomes the foundation of everything else. It gives you the courage to take risks, the strength to handle setbacks, the resilience to keep moving forward even when everything feels heavy. Because once you know you won't quit, everything else becomes possible. So ask yourself, are you willing to keep going, even when it's hard, even when you don't see progress, even when the finish line feels impossibly far away? Because if you are, then you already have everything you need to succeed. You just have to keep showing up, keep moving, keep believing. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be persistent. You don't need to be the best, you just need to be the one who never stops. Because in the end, that's who wins. Not the strongest, not the smartest, not the luckiest, the one who refuses to quit. So take a deep breath, remind yourself why you started, remember who you're becoming, and no matter how hard it gets, keep going. Because the moment you decide that you will never stop, that's the moment you become unstoppable.